All right, man, peace. So, I would say that I'm amazed at the blatant disrespect of many of these extreme feminists, what I call feminazis, not just in daily life, but even on live television. But I'm really not, because to be a feminazi, you have to be totally detached from reality. And you must not deal with the concept of reciprocity, meaning that you treat others how you want to be treated. A touchstone of most feminists is that they treat others in a way that they themselves demand to not be treated. And that is what was exhibited here in an exchange between Michelle Beadle and Tracy McGrady. So now, just to give you guys some backstory, as we can see by the panel here, we have future NBA Hall of Famer Paul Pierce to the left, and then resident cokehead hoe, allegedly, Michelle Beadle, Jalen Rose. And then to the right, we have current NBA Hall of Famer Tracy McGrady. So anyway, as you guys know, if you're aware of what goes on the internet, they have these challenges that spread around the internet to get people to do stupid things, supposedly to bring attention to some type of cause or foundation. Allegedly, that's the reason, but really the reason is to promote stupidity. So Michelle Beadle, being the feminist, modern-day liberal female that she is, decided that she was going to proliferate the so-called hot pepper challenge, or the pepper challenge, which was invented by an NBA analyst that works for ESPN by the name of Tom Haberstroh, whose mother happens to be suffering from ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease, which is basically a degenerative neural disease. Paul Pierce decided to participate in the pepper challenge yesterday, and now Michelle Beadle is deciding that she's going to use this cause, quote-unquote cause, as an excuse to try to force the men around her to engage in the hot pepper challenge. So now let's watch and see. So now let's watch and see what occurs between her and Tracy McGrady.
So our old friend Tom Haberstroh,
the other guys deserve to be in the game.
He started the ALS pepper challenge in support of his mother, who suffers from the disorder. David Fisdale succeeded in the challenge. Our own Paul Pierce was up to the task on Tuesday.
Look at these idiots. This stuff is just an excuse to try to debase society by tricking people into engaging in these hijinks. It reminds me of that show that was on MTV a while ago, years ago, called Johnny Knoxville, where you had those Caucasian dudes that were driving all around, engaging in idiotic pranks, really just pranking themselves and debasing themselves, putting nails through their hands and hitting themselves over the head with hammers. Now they're getting the so-called black men to engage in this, due to the addiction that people have to social media. Now, in order to be cool, you have to engage in these quote-unquote challenges. Now, what they're doing is they're socially engineering adults into reverting back to high school levels of maturity.
Okay, Phil.
1, 2, 3, wait.
Oh, man. Oh, my God, so hot. I'm hot.
Uh-oh. Okay, all right, who do we want to challenge?
That is so hot.
Paul Pierce, dumbass, still wearing them glasses from the 80s.
Hey, I'm challenging Shaquille O'Neal. Hey,
That's the right person to challenge, too, because he'll do it.
hey, Shaq.
Right? So that's the deal. You eat the pepper, then you challenge someone. Coach Fizz actually nominated me, so it's my turn now to support the cause. Before I take a bite of this jalapeno that I grew myself, I'd like to go ahead and issue my challenges so we can do it as a team.
That's the size.
T-Mac
No.
and Jalen.
No.
No.
I don't eat nothing hot.
For a cause? You're not going to do it for the cause?
Now, you see what she did there? She said, you're not going to do it for the cause. Now, right now, there's two of them who refuse to do it. Jalen Rose and Tracy McGrady. And this is why I tell you guys that corporate America is a cult. And this is why they want to have the female in managerial positions in corporate America, because they know that the female is a willing follower, particularly of silly trends. And knowing that she's willing to follow silly trends in order to garner attention for herself, she will therefore have no problem trying to force implementation of trends on the men that work under her. So now just pay attention. Jalen Rose and T-Mac have both initially rejected her offer to eat a hot pepper, which of course has nothing to do with garnering attention for ALS. And let's see what she says. Let's see how she conducts herself.
Man, damn the cause. I'm not doing that. I mean, I'm going to get some.
Wow, that's awful, right?
You saw what T-Mac said? He said, damn the cause. And, of course, she responds with, that's awful. Now he is at the center of her ire. He has rejected her. Okay? In her world, she controls these men. And this is why oftentimes when I note the architecture of these, these platforms, these panels, they oftentimes have black men surrounding a Caucasian woman because it helps her fulfill her fantasy of being in control of a bunch of black men. Now, he has rejected her authority. Let's see what ensues.
I'm going to get some money.
I'll go with you.
I'm going to get some money.
Give me this.
I already issued the challenge. I got a challenge.
Just America. Just
I'm not doing that.
Paul.
Now, you see, T-Mac had decided to have a backbone. He says, I'll just give some money. I'm not doing that. That's how a mature man conducts himself. If you truly are trying to help a foundation or a cause, then you provide your time or your money. There's no need to sit on TV and eat a hot pepper. That does nothing. But because the liberal woman is all about attention, and remember, this female, Michelle Beadle's in her 40s. Looks like she's in her 50s, but she's in her 40s. This is an opportunity for her to once again debase herself, but in her mind, exalt herself by engaging in hijinks. Remember, the woman is pretty much at the maturity level of a high schooler until she gets in her mid-40s, and that's when she starts to mature. And that is at a case-by-case basis.
This is why Paul and I are team. Are you ready? I'm already scared. Oh, God, it's already hot.
There you go.
Oh, wait a minute.
See, Paul Pierce is looking for a long career on television, so he'll pretty much do anything. Jalen Rose states that he's not going to be able to do it. Let's see what happens.
Wait a minute.
Oh, you're good. Bees is okay.
I'm cool. You need some water? Chews and swallow.
No, I'm all right.
You continue to chew it, it gets hot.
Thank you, Curtis. Curtis brought us milk.
You grew it yourself.
Michelle Beadle's fine. She don't need any water. She don't need any milk. She's used to having hot tubes in her mouth.
I grew these in my garden. Yeah.
I don't even.
Wait, I'm not going to issue it to 2 more people. You guys failed.
I don't do that hot stuff like that.
Actually, this is pretty good, y'all.
I'm pass. I'll donate some money though.
I issue my challenge to.
Now look, Jalen Rose, being a punk that he is, has relented. Now, as a so-called black man, he's supposed to be allegedly conscious, allegedly. He's supposed to understand how that looks on TV to leave Tracy McGrady out there by himself. He made a stand. So he was supposed to look at T-Mac and say, you know what? I'm going to stand with him, and I'm going to stand strong with him, because if I eat the pepper, now it's going to make him look even worse. But instead, Jalen Rose decides that he's going to kowtow and eat this silly pepper on national TV. Why is that? Because he's scared of Michelle Beadle. The same way that Stephen A. Smith was scared of Michelle Beadle when she got him suspended.
Kevin Garnett, next time I watch the show, I need to see you doing the pepper challenge, buddy.
Hey, Bees.
Where you at?
Come on, just take a look. We didn't even take a drink. That's not candy.
I'm going to actually do it.
I won't take a drink.
Yay! Come on, Jalen.
You're doing it because you're a punk. If you have to look in the camera and ask why you're doing something, that means that you're not doing it for the right reason, dude.
Her peppers aren't hot at all.
Come on, it's good pepper, right?
It's not hot at all.
No, it's a good
Not even
jalapeno.
hot. It's not hot.
I thought you ate a red pepper on the show.
No.
T-Mac, you're the only one that didn't
That's
do
terrible.
it.
Give me one of them crackers right there.
Come on, man.
That's
It's
not
hot.
That's.
I ate that cracker.
Oh.
Please don't call me that again. Like,
Now, you see what she did there? She made a very off-color joke on air. T-Mac said, just give me one of them crackers. She said, please don't call me that. T-Mac said, what? I will eat that cracker right there. She said, please don't call me that. That's a sexual joke. That can be construed as sexual innuendo. Now, as we all know, there's a witch hunt for all men in corporate America who are making any type of quote-unquote sexually charged comments towards women. But Tracy McGrady just stated, give me that cracker, I'll eat that cracker right there. And she said, please don't call me that. Now, what if a black man was to, or any man, was to make a statement like that in corporate America? He could end up having to go to some type of reprogramming, what they call HR or sexual harassment course. That's if he doesn't get fired, right? But let's watch what ensues now.
pepper.
I issue my challenge to David Jacoby.
Ooh.
And the First Take crew. That's right, Stephen A., Molly, and Max.
Yeah, you won't get.
I did it for a
sorry
second
to let
time.
y'all down, but
I'm good.
You know what though? You know what you've done? You've proven to me what I thought you were, a coward.
Oh.
That's what I thought.
Mike Greenberg, you too.
Hey,
Greeny better eat one too.
I'm calling HR.
Steve,
It's not hot.
me too.
I'm calling HR.
Steve-
See that?
No, I did it on camera. It doesn't even matter.
It's not even hot.
Stephen.
Hey, so did you guys see that? She called the man a coward. In other words, and this is what I tell you brothers all the time with many of these low-level liberal females, they will try to challenge your masculinity or your manhood when you do not kowtow to them, when you do not do what they tell you to do. Because that's their only way to force certain men into following them. It's through embarrassment, because any man who has a backbone, as Tracy McGrady displayed here, he's not going to do things for show or for sport. Now, you don't know if this man has any type of gastrointestinal issue where he cannot eat hot, peppery foods. But you put him on Front Street like that, and then you call him out of his name. You call him a coward. Even Paul Pierce said, wow, all type of names being called here. Now, look at Paul Pierce's face when she calls T-Mac a coward. Even Paul Pierce got mildly offended. I'm going to rewind it back.
Stephen Adams, kind of good. You know what you've done? You've proven to me what I thought you were, a coward.
Oh.
That's what I thought.
Mike Greenberg, you too.
Hey.
Greeny better eat one too.
You see what Paul Pierce, you see how he looked over at T-Mac? Like, wow, I can't believe she called you that. And then he said all type of names being called out here. Extremely unprofessional. That's why T-Mac responded back with he's going to HR, because he was offended by that. But he had to keep his composure on national TV. Let me say this. He can go to HR. Nothing's going to happen to her off that. Nothing is going to happen to her off that. Now, what if they had the hot sausage challenge and he handed her a hot sausage and said, here, just pretend it's me. Or, it's chocolate covered or something like that. Something that could be construed as being sexually charged, like how she stated to him when he said, I'll have that cracker, I'll eat that cracker. And she said, please don't call me a cracker.
I'm calling HR.
Steve,
It's not hot.
me too.
I'm calling HR. See that?
No, I did it on camera. It doesn't even matter.
It's not even hot.
Stephen Adams, kind of good. Told reporters this week.
Yeah, I bet it is kind of good. I bet you're used to having hot peppers in your mouth that you view as being kind of good. But anyway, I just thought that was a very interesting exchange. Once again, reveals a lot of the dumb shit that men, but since my channel is geared toward the black man, that's who I focus my channel towards. It is what it is. A lot of you brothers have to watch out for, because many of these females, particularly these liberal females that are older, like a Michelle Beadle, are very lonely, and they get their rocks off in the workplace by trying to force men to do what they want them to do. And you will encounter that from so-called management, particularly females in management, who will try to get you to go along with certain trends and their ideas about how certain processes should go, just as an ego boost for themselves. And that's really all that was about. For her to call him a coward because he would not eat that pepper, that's something that someone, especially who was involved in competition and who grew up in a competitive field like professional sports, of course T-Mac was highly offended by that. But kudos to him for keeping it together on camera. Anyway, peace.